Hey guys, my name is Faizan Khan and welcome back to the next part of Python code editor project. In the previous part, we designed the layout of our project. This is how it looks, right? And now in this part, we will work on the functionality. So first of all, let's work on the functionality of this file menu. So here we have this new file, open file, save as, exit. So we need to add some functionality to this. So if we click on this save as command, a save as dialog box should appear where we can enter the file name, and when we click on save, so the code should be saved in that particular file, right? Similarly, if we click on this open file command, we should see a open file dialog box from where we can select any Python file and we can open that in our editor, right? So this way we will add the functionalities. Similarly, for this themes menu here, once I click on this light, we should see light theme. Once I select dark, I should see dark theme. Similarly, when I click on this clear button, everything should be cleared from this text area and this output area. And finally, when we click on this run, after writing some code here, that code should be executed and we should see the output on this output area, right? So let's see how we can add all these functionalities to it. So I'm gonna add all the functionalities at the top just after this import line. So first of all, I will add the functionality for save as command. So here I'll write def save as, right? And what we want. So let's have a look at our original project. So let me run this original project and show you what happens when I click on this save as. So when I click on this save as, we see this save as file dialog box, right? So first of all, we need to open this save as file dialog box. After that, we will enter the file name here, right? And then we'll click on the save button. So whatever code that will be written on this editor, that code will be saved in that particular file name, right? So let's see. So in order to open a file dialog box, we need to import it. It's present in tkinter only. So what we need to write here at the top, we need to write from tkinter import file dialog like this. Now we can import or we can open that save as dialog box, right? So let's do that. So with the help of this file dialog, I'm going to open ask save as file name, the second one. So our file dialog box, which is nothing but save as dialog box, will appear whenever you will click on save as command, right? But we are defining a function right now. This function code will only be executed when we will call this function. So from where we will call this function, we'll call this from that save command, save as command, right? So here, as you can see here, we have provided this label save as. So here only we'll add a command keyword argument, and here we'll pass the function name without parenthesis like this. So from here we will call it. So whenever you will click on save as command, this save as function will be called and this particular line will be executed. Let's see. So if I click on this save as command, you can see we are getting this save as dialog box. And if you see here, if I move to my desktop, so as you can see here, we are able to see all the files of any format, right? But we are only interested in seeing the Python files, right? So in that case, we will be providing file type, right? That we only want to see Python files. So how we can do that? So what we can do is inside this ask save as file name method, we can pass file type keyword argument, and here actually it's file types, and here in the list we will add a tuple python files, which is nothing but the title python files, and the extension that which files are taken as python files. So that is nothing but .py, right? So we want only python file and all the python files, so we'll add this asterisk as well, like this. And one more thing, that what should be the default extension, like if I save any python file with the name test, right? So if I don't add extension .py, still it should be saved with .py extension. So in that case we will have to add this default extension keyword argument, like this, and here the value would be in the form of a tuple .py, right? So if the user will only enter the name and will not mention the extension, still the file will be saved with .py extension. Okay, so now if I run this code again and I click on the save as command, you can see we are only seeing the python files here. If I move back to desktop, here you can see all other file types now are not visible. We are only able to see Python files because we are only interested in Python files, right? So we are seeing this. Next thing, if I don't add any extension, like if I am writing only test and not adding .py or anything, so still this file will be saved with .py extension. Okay, so now what I want, that whatever code which will be written on this editor, that code should be saved inside this file test whenever I click on the save button, right? So let's see. So this save as file name method returns something. So it returns basically the path that I will save in this variable path, and let me just simply print it so that you can see on the console that what this save as file name method returns. So if I run this code again, and here if I go to the save as, and if I enter test here, if I move to desktop, I have entered file name as test. If I click on the save button, you can see on the console what is getting printed. You can see the complete path is getting printed, right? Test.py. So this test.py is getting saved on my desktop, right? So this is the complete path of this file. So basically what we have to do now, we have to open this file test.py, and we will open this file in write mode, and to this file we will write whatever is present on that text editor, right? And then we will close the file. Simple. So firstly I'm going to open a file, and basically I will be opening the path, right? Because at that particular path only our file is existing, right? So we'll open this file in write mode. Basically we are going to write something inside this file. Okay, so we'll open this file in write mode, and then what we are going to write, so we'll write file dot write, and what we are going to write, we are going to write everything that is present on our text area. So we'll use text area object variable dot get method. So this will get everything which is written there on the text area, and to this get method we also have to mention from where to where. So from 1.0 till end. So 1.0 is the starting index and end is the last index. So from the start till end we will get everything, and we will write that inside this file, right? Basically to this path, and then we'll simply close the file like this. So now if I run this and show you, if I click on the save as command, and here if I sorry, before that let me just write something. And also, since I cancelled the save as dialog box, let's see, we are getting an error here that no such file or directory is existing, because we have not mentioned any file name and we simply clicked on cancel. So that is why we are getting this error, because inside this path variable we are not getting anything, right? We are only getting this null string. So what we will do, we will simply check here, we'll apply condition here that if path is not equals to null, then only we will execute this code, otherwise will not execute this code. If path is null means if you'll click on cancel, then this particular code will not be executed and you won't get this error. So if I run it again just to show you, if I click on this save as command and if I don't give any file name and directly click on this cancel, so when I clicked on cancel, this particular highlighted code didn't execute. Okay, so now you are not getting that error. And next thing that I was telling you, let me first write something, some code. So for I in range 5, print I. Let me provide indentation here like this. Okay, now if I save this, save as, and here if I mention test, okay, and I want to save this file on my desktop only. Okay, so if I click on the save button, let's see if this file is saved or not on the desktop. So on my desktop you can see this is the file. If I open this file on notepad, you can see the same code. This code is now inserted inside this file which was written on the editor, right? So I hope you understood the functionality of save as function. So after this save as function, now let's see how we can open any Python file on our editor, right? So for that I am going to define another function, open file. Okay, and here we will firstly open a file dialog box. Okay, so let me just run the original project to show you how that file dialog box looks like. So if I open file, right, so here you can see this is how a file dialog box looks like. This is open file dialog box, and from here if I select this file test, okay, if I click on open, you can see that particular file is now opened on our editor. The same functionality we have to do there, right? Let's see. So when a user will click on open file command, first of all a file dialog box will open. So I'll use this file dialog dot ask open file name, the second one, and here again we need to mention the file types and the default extension. So I'll copy it from here because it will be the same thing only, right? So I'll paste here, and this ask open file name will also return us the path, right? Because suppose if I want to open that test.py file which is on my desktop, right, so it will give the complete path of that file. Okay, so in case of open file, what we will do, we will open the file that user selects, right? So I'm going to use this open function, and here we'll simply pass this path, right? And I'll this time I'll use read mode because I want to read the content of the file, right? And that content I will simply add on my editor. So I'll name this as file. Okay, and now I'll read the content and will insert on my editor. So I'll use file dot read method, and whatever data that is read, that I will store in some variable data, and then what I will do, I will insert on my text area. So I'll write text area dot insert method to insert something, and from where you want to start inserting, from the start position. So this is the start position, and what you want to insert, you want to insert the data, right? All the data of that file. So this data will be inserted on your text area. After that, you will close the file. So file dot close, like this. Let's run the code and see. So if I click on file, open file, I am not able to see open file dialog box. What is the reason? The reason is that we have just defined the function, but we have not called this function. So let's call this function, and from where we'll call it? We'll call it from open file command, right? So here we'll pass a command equals to open file without parenthesis. So whenever you will click on that open file command, this function will be called and this code will be executed, right? So let's try again. So if I click on this open file, you can see we are getting this open file dialog box. So if the user does not select any file from here, right, and directly tries to click on this open file, or maybe on cancel, then we will be getting an error like this, right? That no such file or directory exists. The same error which we were getting here, right? So again, I'm going to apply this condition that if you don't get any path, right, then don't do anything. Okay, if you get any path, then only execute the code. Okay, so if path is not equals to null, so I'll paste that code here. If path is not equals to null, then only execute this code. Okay, it means the user must select some file and click on open. Okay, but if the user simply clicks on cancel, then this particular code will not execute. I hope you are getting this. Let me run this again. So if I click on file, open file, and if I don't select any file and simply click on this cancel button, you can see now we are not getting any error. Okay, because inside path we were getting null value when I clicked on cancel, right? So in that case, this if condition is becoming false. Okay, so this code is not getting executed. We are simply coming out of this if block, right? So let me just run this code, and this time let me select a file. So open file, and let me click on this test and open. So you can see we are getting the code of that particular file in our editor. But the issue is that suppose this file is open on this editor, right? Let me open some other file. Okay, like for example this one. Okay, so what is happening here? The earlier file code is already present here. This is not getting deleted. So when I'm opening a new file, right, so the earlier file code should be removed, right? Then the new file code should be inserted. So that is the thing that what we have to do now, that when we are inserting the data, right, just before that, if there is anything already present on the text area, we will simply delete that. So I'm going to use the object variable dot delete method, and from the start till end we will firstly delete everything. Okay, and then we will insert the data of the file that you are opening. Okay, so let me just try again. So let me just firstly open that test.py. So you can see the code of test.py, and now I want to open the other file Python. Okay, so now you will see the previous code got deleted and this new file Python file code is inserted. So this is the thing that I did. I hope you understood it. After this, next we will work on the functionality of save command. So let me just show you in the original project how that works. So if I run this original project and suppose I'm writing some code here, print my name is Khan. Okay, so if I go to file and click on this save, so when I click on this save, since it's a new file, so I'm getting the save as dialog box. Okay, this is save as dialog box. Okay, and here I can give a name to my Python file. Okay, I'll go with the main and I'll save it simply. Okay, so this file is now saved. But what if I do some change here, like instead of my name is Khan, I'll change it to my name is Faizan, like this. And now if I click on the save button, so this time you won't see that save as dialog box. Okay, because the file is already saved with name main, right? So once I click on the save button, what will happen, the updated content will be moved inside that main file. Okay, so if I click on the save, now this content is inside that particular file. So if I show you on the desktop, so you can see this main. If I open this in notepad, you can see my name is Faizan is now updated inside it once I clicked on save, right? So this is the thing. So if uh, the file is new, then we will see a save as dialog box. If the file is not new, okay, then the content will be updated in that particular file. So this is how save command works. So let's add this functionality now. So just after this open file function, I'm going to define save function. So here, as I discussed, if it's a new file, then we will open a save as dialog box. But if it's an existing file, then we will simply update the content inside that file. So how will we know that it's a new file or an existing file? So what I can show you here is, let me just run this code, let me just pass and run this code again. Okay, so if I open some file, so I have opened this main file here. Okay, so this is the file that I have opened. Okay, so inside that path variable, so when I opened a file, right, so inside this path variable, what is stored? Let me just print it so that you can understand. Path. Okay, let me run the code again. If I open some file like main.py, I have opened it. Okay, now let me show you what is there inside that path variable. Inside that path variable, this is the path. Okay, this is the path of the file inside which the code is there. Okay, so if the path already exists, so when I click on save button after modification, what should happen, the updated code should be added inside this path only. Okay, so I am interested inside in this path variable. Okay, and if this path variable will not have anything, means if it will have null string only, it means it's a new file, means no path is there inside this path variable. So I'll have to make this as global so that I can use this value inside some other function as well. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a variable path. This is the same variable, but initially I'll assign null string to it. Okay, so when you'll run the code, this path variable will have no string. Okay, so what I'll do inside the save function, I'll check if path equals to null. Okay, so if inside this path variable we will have no string, okay, it means it's a new file. So in that case, I will simply call the save as function. So save as function will simply save that file. Okay, as we have already discussed what save as function will do. Okay, so I hope you are getting this. But if the path does not contain null string, it means something is there. Okay, means some path is there inside that path variable. In that case, we'll simply move to the else part. Okay, and in the else part, what we will do, let me just pass for now. Let me just show you the if thing first. Okay, how it works. So let me just run the code. Since it's a new file, okay, I'm going to print something. How are you? Okay, so it's a new file, right? So if I click on the save button, what will happen? Since inside the path variable we have no string, okay, no path, so it will simply open the save as dialog box. But it didn't open. Why? Because we have created a function but we have not called it. So calling is very important. So let's call it first. So where we want to call it? From here. So I'll pass a command equals to save without parentheses. Okay, let me run the code again. So let me just write a print statement again. How are you? Okay, let me just click on the save button. So you can see we are getting save as dialog box. Okay, and from here you can save this file with name of your choice. Like if I go with Khan, so I can save it with Khan only. Okay, so on the desktop you will see this file Khan. Okay, because it was a new file, so path variable did not had anything. Okay, so directly the save function was called. Okay, the save function was called. I hope you got it. But what if, let me just print in the else part, let me just print hello. Okay, so if inside path variable we will have path of some file, in that case we will move to the else part, right? And in the else part this hello will be printed. So let me just run the code. Right now the path variable is having null value. Okay, but if I am opening some file, suppose if I open this file Khan, okay, this file is open there. Okay, now inside that path variable we have the complete path of that khan.py file, right? So now what will happen, if I'll click on this save button, this time the else code will work and hello will be printed on the console. You can see hello is printed this time, right? Because inside path variable this was the path. I hope you are getting this. But we don't have to print hello. What we have to do, we have to update the content inside that file. Means we have to add the content which is there on the text area inside that file. Okay, so how will we do it? It's very easy. Again, we'll open a file, right? We'll use open function to open a file. Okay, so this is the file, and basically we'll open the path, this path, this particular path. Okay, and in which mode we'll open it? This time we'll open it in write mode, because we want to write something inside it, right? So here we simply get the suggestions like which modes you can use. So I'm simply going to use write mode because I want to write the updated content inside that file. So I'll use this file object variable dot write method, and what I want to write, whatever is there on the text area. So I'll write text area dot get method from start till end. I will get everything, and that will simply be written inside that file, right? Inside that path file khan.py, and then I will simply close that file dot close, like this. So let me run this code and see if the code is getting updated or not. So I'll open some file, like I'll open this main.py file. It's written my name is Faizan. Okay, I'll modify it to my name is Khan. Okay, and I'll simply save it. Let's see on the desktop if we are getting the updated content or not. So I'll open this in Notepad. So you can see we are getting the updated content. My name is Khan. Okay, so it is working fine. So I hope the functionality of the save command is clear to you. And one more thing, suppose if I type some text here, okay, some code, and then if I try to save as, okay, with some name like P, okay, this is saved. Now what I want to modify this code. Okay, so basically inside that path variable we will have the complete path of P file, right, with the name that we saved just now, right? But now if I'll click on save, what would you expect? Okay, this code should be modified in that P file. Okay, we should see this code, hey who, inside that P file. Okay, but if I'll try to click on the save, we are getting the save as dialog box. Why is that? What is happening? Let's see in the code. So when I'm clicking on save button, this code is getting executed, means inside the path variable we are getting null string. But in case of save as, inside the path variable there was the path of that P file. Okay, so I want to use this path here inside the save function, right? So here also inside the save as function also we'll have to make this as global, so that this value, this path value, can be used inside this save function. Okay, now if I'll run this code again, okay, so let me just firstly delete that P file once. Okay, coming back to the code, if I run this code again, let me run this code again. Okay, so if I type some text, hey, if I save as with some name P, okay, now I am modifying the code, and now if I try to save, so this time inside that path variable the path will be of that P file only. Okay, so when I'll click on this save, the else part code will be executed. Okay, this part. Okay, so the updated text or the updated code will be added inside that P file. Okay, so now you will see hey who inside this file, right? So I hope you understood it, why we had to make path variable global in that save as function. Okay, now after this, what we have to do, we have to add functionality to this new file command, and then the last one would be this exit one. So let's quickly add to new file. What will happen in case of new file? Let me just run the original project once. So if I open some file, an existing file like this one, okay, this is the existing file. What I want when I click on new file, I'm getting a new file, means the existing file text which was written on this text area is getting deleted, right? And now I'll be writing some other code because it's a new file, and then I will be able to save it, right? So when I'm clicking on save, I'm getting the save as dialog box. So again we'll have to save it because now it's a new file. Okay, it's not that old one. I hope you are getting this. So this is the functionality of new file. So let me define another function, dev new. Okay, this is for new file. So firstly I'll have to make that path variable as global, and then here I'll make that path variable back to null. Okay, why null? If you will not make it null, then there will be some path inside this path variable. Okay, because when you will open some file, there will be some path inside that path variable. Okay, so I don't want any path, so that is why I'm making it null, because it's a new file, so path variable should have null value inside it. I hope you are getting this. And then I will delete everything from the text area and the output area. So I'll write text area dot delete from start till end. I will delete everything, and similarly I will delete everything from the output area, right? Because the output screen should also means everything should also be deleted from that output area, right? When you will click on new file, okay, like this. And now if I run this code just to show you, okay, so what I'll do, I'll open some existing file, this Python one, okay, and let me just type here something, maybe just imagine it as an output for this code, okay. Now what I'll do, I want a new file, okay. So once I click on this new file, nothing is happening again. I'm so sorry, I always forget this, that I have to call this. So let me just call it, uh, I'll have to call it from new file. So I'll pass a command here, equals to new, like this. Let me run this. Let me open an existing file, Python, okay. Suppose this is some output of this code, okay. Now if I want a new file, so once I click on new file, everything is getting deleted from this text area and this output area, okay. Since it's a new file, you can write your new code and you can simply save it, okay. Since it's a new file, that's why you are getting the save as dialog box. I hope it's clear to you. And the last command in the file menu is this exit. So let me quickly show you how this exit works. So once I'll click on this exit button, I'm getting this message box. This is known as message box with the message, do you want to exit? Okay, so if I'll click on no, nothing will happen. But if I'll click on yes, this window will be closed. Our main window will be closed. So this is what we have to do here. So this time let me just firstly add the command, otherwise I'll forget. So I'll give the function name as iExit, okay. You can give any name, it's up to you. We are seeing this red line because this function is not defined, so let's define it just after this def new. So I'll define it def iExit, like this. And firstly we want to display a message box when we will click on this iExit, means exit command, right? So message box we can import from tkinter, okay. Message box, so after you import message box, then you can come here. So inside this function we'll use this message box dot ask yes no method, okay. So first thing is the title can be anything like confirm, okay. And then we'll have to pass a message like, do you want to exit, like this, okay. And this ask yes no method will return you either true or false, and that true false value we can store in some variable like result, okay. So if you'll click on no, you will get a false value inside this result variable, and if you'll click yes, you will get true value inside this result variable, okay. So let me just print this result variable to show you what is inside it. So if I run this code, if I click on this exit button, we are getting, do you want to exit? So if I click on no, you will see false value, right? If I'll click on yes, you will see true value, okay. So instead of printing, what I will do, I will check that if result is true or not. So if result will be true, if condition will become true, right? So in that case I have to simply destroy our window. So when it will be true, when you will click yes, right, that you want to exit, so in that case I will simply destroy our window. So our window name is root, and I'll use this destroy method. Okay, but if you'll select no, so we'll go to the else part, and in the else part I'll simply pass, means I'll do nothing. Okay, so let me just run this again. If I click on exit, iExit function will be called, and you are seeing this message box, do you want to exit, and this is the title, confirm. If you'll see, if you'll click no, it will simply pass. Okay, and if you'll click yes, the window will be destroyed. Okay, so I hope you understood it. This is very easy. So now let me run my original project once. So if I run this, here you can see we have completed the functionality of this file menu, all the commands. And now let's move to this theme section. Here you can see by default the theme which is set is light theme, but we can switch to dark theme as well, like this. Okay, so now you can see the tick is on dark. We can come back to light theme by clicking on that command, right, like this. So I told you this is a radio button, right? So let's see how we can add this functionality to this themes menu. Okay, so where we have created those radio buttons, as you can see here we have created them, right? So the label is light here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to provide a variable. Okay, and the variable name I'm going to give as check. It can be any variable, it's up to you. Okay, and then I'm also going to provide some value, like the value is light here. Okay, similarly in case of dark radio button, here also I'm going to provide the same variable, which is check, and then here the value would be something else, like for example dark. So why I'm using this variable and this value thing, basically what this check variable will do, this will store this particular value. So when you will select light radio button, okay, light theme, then inside this check variable this light value will be stored. Okay, and when you will select dark theme, then inside this check variable this dark value will be stored. So with the help of this variable we can check which radio button you have selected, and accordingly we will add functionality, right? So what I'm going to do here, to these two radio buttons I'm going to provide a command. So I'll write command equals to theme, because here we are trying to change the theme, right? So it's a function name, so let's define this function. So just after this I exit, I'm going to define it. So def theme, like this. And here what I'm going to do, here I'm going to check the value of this check variable, okay, which I have passed here, right? But this check variable we need to define first. So here I can define it. So here I'll write check equals to string var. So this is a string variable. Okay, so here I'll inside this function what I'll do, I'll check if check equals to light. Okay, means if inside this check variable light value is there, it means the user has selected light theme, right? So in case of light theme, what you want, you want the text area background color white and the text color black. Similarly, output area background color will also be white and the text color will also be black. So that thing we'll have to mention here, text area dot config. Basically we'll configure the background color, and the background color would be white, and the foreground color, which is nothing but the text color, so text color in case of light theme will be black, right? Similarly we'll do it for output frame, sorry, output area, which is the text area. So output area dot config, here also we'll change the background color to white, and that text color fg, would be black, like this. I hope you are getting this. So if the user selects light theme, okay, this condition will become true, and in that case this code will be executed, where the text area background color will be changed to white and the text color will change to black. Similarly, output area background color will change to white and the text color will change to black. And now if the user selects a dark theme, so inside this check variable we will have dark value. Okay, these are the same values that I have mentioned here, this light and this dark. Okay, so when the user will select dark theme, inside this check we will have the dark value. So in that case what we will do, we'll do the same thing, like changing the text color and the background color of text area and output area. So I'll paste here, Control V, and here what I will do, I will change the text color to white and the background color I'll change to gray 20. Okay, so background color uh, here and here I'll change it to gray 20. This is a color code. Okay, you can check on Google which colors you can use in tkinter. So this is one of the color, this is dark gray color that I'm using here, and the text color I will change to white. So if you want to apply more themes, like instead of light and dark some other theme, then accordingly you can change the color of background color and the text color, right? I hope you are getting this. So now if I will run this code, okay, from here if I click on this dark, nothing is happening. Why is that? Okay, so here I made a mistake. This variable check dot get. Okay, so we have to use this get method to get what is inside this check variable. Okay, so if this will be equals to light, then this particular code will execute, and if we'll get dark inside this check variable, then this particular code will be executed. Okay, let me run again. So if I change the theme to dark, you can see we are getting a dark background color and white text. Okay, similarly here also we'll get white text, and if you want to switch to light theme, we'll get black text and white background. So I hope you understood how we can change the theme. Let me just run this code again. As you can see, by default no theme is selected. Okay, so I want to select this light theme. By default means it's already light only, but here you can see no tick mark is there, right? So what I want, when I open the application, I want to see tick on the light theme. Okay, because the application will be in the light theme only, right? So just after creating this variable, here I'll set the value of that theme. So light is the value, right? Here you can see light and dark, these two are the values. So I'm setting light theme because by default the theme is light of our editor. Okay, so now if I run this code, you will see the tick is on the light theme, right? But we can switch to dark theme as well, like this. I hope you understood it. So after themes menu, next we have to work on this clear. Okay, so what I want, when I click on this clear, everything should be deleted from this text area and this output area. Okay, just like in our original project. If I run this code, let me open some file. So I'll open this Khan. Okay, this is a print statement simply. So if I'll run this, you can see Khan is getting printed on the output screen, right? So now if I simply click on this clear button, what will happen? Everything is getting deleted from this text area as well as this output area, right? So this is very simple functionality. So let's add this functionality. So instead of creating clear menu, we are simply going to create a command, just like we had a new file, open file, all those commands. Similarly for run as well, we won't create a menu, it will only be a command. So my menu dot, instead of add cascade, will add command, like this. Okay, and here we don't have to pass this menu thing, like this. So if I run this code, you can see still we are getting these two. Okay, but these are now commands directly. Okay, so what I'm going to do, here I'm going to provide a command. Okay, and the command name is clear, which is nothing but a function. So I'll define this function just after this dev themes. So here I'll write dev clear, and what I need to clear, whenever the user will click on this clear command, everything should be deleted from the text area. So text area dot delete, from the start till end I'll delete everything, and then I'll also have to delete everything from the output area. So here I'll change the object variable to output area dot delete, like this. So this is done. Let's run. So if there is anything on this text area and this output area, and you click on this clear button, everything will be deleted from these two areas. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. This was very easy. And now finally we are left with the functionality of this run command. Okay, and also we need to bind the shortcut keys. Okay, so firstly let's work on the functionality of this run command, and at last we'll bind the shortcut keys. So first of all, let me provide a command to this run command, right? So here I'll pass a command equals to run code. Okay, this is the function name. Now let's define this function. So I'll define it at the top. Maybe you can define it anywhere, but where you are calling the function, you need to define it just above it, right? So I'll define here def run underscore code. This is the function name that I have taken. Okay, so firstly what I will do, I will create a variable which will be nothing but a command. Okay, so what command you want to run? Okay, so when you run any Python file on cmd or shell, what do you write? You write python. Okay, and then the complete file name or the complete path name, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use fs string here. So I'll pass python and then the file name. So file name will be inside my path variable, right? Because inside path you will have the file name, right? The complete path of the file. Okay, so this is the command you write to run your code. So this command I'm storing in this command variable. I hope you are getting this. So when you run your code, basically if it is not saved, then we will see a message box. If I show you in our original project, if I run this code, okay, suppose if I write here some line, like for example print hello. Okay, now if I directly run this code, it is showing me a error message box that please save the file. Okay, it means the path variable is having null value. So if the path variable is having null value, in that case the file is not saved. So we firstly need to save the file, then only we will be able to run that file, right? But once I save it, then I will be able to run it. So I'll save it with name edit. Okay, so once I save this file, now inside that path variable we will have the path of that edit file, right? So now I can run the code and the code is running. Okay, so let's see what we need to do here. So firstly I'll check that if path variable is storing null value. So if it is storing null value, it means it's a new file. So firstly you need to save it. Okay, so I'll show a message box. So message box dot show error, so it will be an error message box. Firstly, I'll provide a title. Okay, title can be anything like error. Okay, and then the message would be please save the file before running. Okay, like this. And if the path is not null, it means there is some path, means the file is saved already. In that case, we will execute this particular command that we are going to write now. I will require one module which will help in running our code, okay, which is sub process. So we'll import it sub process like this. And here what we'll do, we'll write sub process dot p open. So this is the function or the method that we are going to use, which will help us in running our code. Okay, so first thing we need to provide the command. Okay, this is nothing but the command which help us to run our Python code, right? After that, we'll get some uh, output. So it's a keyword argument, and the value here would be subprocess dot pipe. Okay, like this. Then we will also get some error, right? So we'll write stderr. Okay, and here the value would be subprocess dot pipe. And then since we are using shell to run our code, so here we need to make it true like this, or shell is nothing but the cmd. Okay, so this thing will run our file and will return some output or some error if there will be any, that I will store in some variable run file. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to communicate with this file. Okay, and it will provide us two things, the output and the error, that I can store in some variable like output comma error. Okay, like this. So we will have output inside this output variable, and if there will be any error, that will be inside this error variable. Now we need to simply add this output and this error on our output area, right? So what I'll write, if there is already anything present on our output area, okay, that I will firstly delete. Okay, so from start till end, I will firstly delete everything, and then I will insert output area dot insert, and from the starting position I'm going to insert the output like this. And if there will be some error, then that error also I'll have to insert. So instead of output this time, I'll insert error if there will be any error. Okay, like this. So now if I run this code, okay, let me use a loop here for I in range 3, and I'll print I value, or I into 2 value. Okay, like this. So if I directly try to click on run, it will ask me to please save the file before running. Okay, so I need to save this. So I'll save as. Okay, and I'll save it here only in my public folder with the name code. Okay, so once I save it, now I'll be able to run this file. So once I click on run, you can see we are getting the output 0, 2 and 4. Okay, so I hope it's clear to you. And if I make some change, like if I don't provide indentation here, okay, then I will be getting indentation here. Let me save this file. Okay, now if I run it, you can see we are getting the error, indentation error, right? So here we need to provide indentation. So I hope you are getting this, that we are getting error as well as output on this output area, right? And now let's quickly add the functionalities for the shortcut keys, right? Control N for the new file, Control O for open file, and so on. So let's see. So what I'll do at the bottom, just above this root dot main loop line, here I'm going to bind my keyboard keys, okay, with a function. Okay, and functions we have already defined, we just need to bind them, right? So I'll use this object variable dot bind method, and which key we want to bind, that we need to mention, and this is the way this represents that particular key. So firstly let me bind control N for the new file, right? So this is nothing but the keyboard control N key, okay, and I want to bind this with new function like this, right? So whenever you will press control N, you will see a new file, okay, means the old text will be deleted and the path will be removed, and you will see a new file on your text area, right? So where we have defined this function here, you can see. But one thing, that when you press any keyboard keys, you get some parameter inside this function, okay, so we'll accept that value and we'll make it simply equal to none, like this, okay. So let me just show you, if you don't mention this thing, what will happen. You will simply get an error. So if I run this code, and let me just open some file first of all, okay, like this, and now I want a new file, so I'm pressing Control and N. So you can see we are getting an error here. New takes 0 positional arguments, but 1 was given. So when you are pressing any key, okay, so some argument is getting passed to this new function, okay, so we need to receive that. So I'll receive that like this, okay. It can be any variable, I'm using event variable here, okay, and I'm simply passing none value to it like this. So now if I run this, if I open some file, now if I press Control N, you can see we are getting a new file here, right? Similarly, for we can open some existing file with the help of a shortcut key. So we'll use the same thing, root.bind, and here we'll use Control O to open any file. So here I'll call which function? Open file function, okay. Similarly, we'll go to that open file function and we'll mention the argument, okay. So here also we'll use the same variable and we'll pass none value to it like this. So now I can open any file with the help of Control plus O like this. So you can see we are getting file dialog box, okay. So I hope this is clear. Control O to open any file and Control N for a new file, okay. Similarly, let's see Control S for save and Control A for save as, and then Control Q for exit. So let's bind them. So here I'll paste the same line with the help of Control D, and here it will be Control S, right? And in case of Control S, we'll call which function? Save function, okay, like this. And in case of Control A, we'll call save as function like this. And then last, Control Q will call exit function, I exit, like this, okay. And now quickly let's add uh, arguments inside these functions so that we don't get any error like this, and then do the save also, and then do the save as, okay. So we are done. Let's run. So if you want to save some file after writing the code, suppose hello, okay, so this is the file. Now if you want to save it, so you'll simply press Control and A for save as like this, and here you can mention the file name, okay, and you can save it and then you can run it like this. So I hope this is clear to you. If you want to exit, so you'll simply press Ctrl Q. Here it is asking for, do you want to exit? If you'll say no, nothing will happen. If you'll say yes, it will be closed. And finally, the last functionality that I would like to show you. So if I open any existing file, okay, so now with the help of Control P, I'm able to increase the font size, and with the help of Control M, I'm able to decrease the font size. So how I have done this? So let's see, let's add this functionality. So with the help of shortcut keys, you will be able to increase or decrease the font size. Okay, so let's see this. So I'm going to bind these two keys just like we have binded all these shortcut keys, right? So here I'll simply Control D to copy the same line twice. Okay, so here I'll use Control P to increase the font size, to plus the font size, and Control M to minus the font size. Okay, and I'll provide a function name here, and it would be a different function, font underscore decrease. Oh sorry, it will be increase, right? And here font decrease. Okay, so these two functions are not defined, we just have called them directly from here, so we need to define them. So let's define these two functions at the top here. So firstly, def font increase. Okay, so how will we increase the font? So if you remember, we have used one variable, which was that variable. Let me just check. The variable was this font size, okay, which I set to 18, and this font size variable I have used inside this text class, right? As you can see here, uh, here in font I have mentioned the font size variable instead of a value 18, right? Why I have done that? So that later on I'll use this variable to increase the value of it or decrease the value of it. Okay, so let's see this inside this font in function. Here what I'll do, I'll simply increase that variable, so I'll write font size variable and I'll increase by 1. Okay, so whenever you will press Control P, okay, font size value will be increased by 1. Okay, so here it is showing error. So what we need to do, we need to make this as global font size. Okay, so that variable we can modify inside this function. Okay, similarly we'll create font dec function to decrease the font size. Okay, so here I'll change it to dec dec, and I'll subtract the font size by 1, like this. Okay, so I hope you are getting this. Now if I run this code, if I type some text here, if I press Control P, okay, I will be getting an error. The error says that one argument was passed. Okay, so we need to receive that value. So again we need to pass some variable and we'll add that value to it. Similarly here also, event equals to none, like this. Okay, if I run this, if I write my name, if I press Control P, again nothing is happening. So what is the issue? We have increased the font size or decreased the font size, right? But we have not updated this font size on our text area. So we need to configure this. So we'll write text area dot config. Okay, and here we'll change the font. Okay, and we'll update the font size with this variable. Okay, so here we'll write the styling, which was nothing but Arial, and font size will be value which is inside this variable, and then I'll make the text as bold, which I was doing earlier also. So I'll simply copy this line again and I'll paste here. control V. So in case of font decrease, this value will be added on the text area. Okay, now let's see. If I type my name, okay, if I press Ctrl P, you can see the font size is increasing. If I press Ctrl M, you can see font size is decreasing. Okay, so I hope you understood it. That's it for this video. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.